Let's do this backwards. If you want a simple USB powered portable DAC and amp that will give you a relaxed and mellow listen from in-ear monitors or full-sized headphones, and you don't mind that it only has a volume control and nothing else, and that the power specs are clearly false, then the M3 Ultra is for you. All the music I put through it, and whatever headphones or IEMs I plugged in, I just had such a relaxing listen with this that even when I switched to more resolving gear, I wanted to go back to the M3 Ultra just because it was easy to listen with. For example, Dead Can Dance's Mushin, which is a very complex track with many instruments from around the world, I couldn't make out the fine details of each of the exotic instruments in that track, but I could just listen in the background and not have to focus too hard on the music and do other work instead. Likewise, with orchestral music, I wasn't going to be picking out where each of the instruments are in the orchestra, no matter how good the headphones I have. But for listening in the background while I do other work, it was absolutely wonderful and enjoyable to listen with. Whatever I plugged in, whether it be in-ear monitors such as the Symphony Zeniths I just reviewed, or full-size headphones like the Aria Organics or Final DX3000s or what have you, the M3 Ultra made listening relaxing and enjoyable. However, putting it under higher demands, such as maybe even extreme ones, like listening to a movie soundtrack with very low bass at high volumes, the M3 Ultra just went into clipping. And that's because it absolutely does not have 480 milliwatts of power output. Actually measuring it with a 1 kilohertz tone at 32 ohms, which is what the specs are at, I could only get the equivalent of about 100 milliwatts of power. And that's because while it has an ESS DAC in there, it also has an ESS headphone amplifier, actually 2 of them. And the amplifier itself has a maximum power output specified of 49 milliwatts. So double that up and you get, well, close to 100 milliwatts, which was roughly what I measured. And even comparing that to another dongle DAC, which has similar power specifications, the other dongle DAC did not go into clipping at all. Now, the M3 Ultra does not have any sophisticated circuitry like other dongle DACs to prevent them going into clipping or shut them down if they do, so this very readily could go into clipping if induced. But at 32 ohms, again, that was 110 dB, and even with the Aria Organics, it was about 106 dB. And so doing the calculations, it again comes to considerably less if it's not a 32 ohm headphone. But even so, the amount of power output, especially with 32 ohm headphones, was more than enough for moderate listening. And as long as I didn't put it under any heavy demands, it did the job perfectly. Now, while I was measuring it, I also noticed that the volume control has about 60-something steps, each of 1 decibel, which is very sufficient for in-ear monitors and full-sized headphones, and so I could use either without any gain settings. The problem is, with zero indication what the volume level is, you have to plug it in, and then, well, a good idea is to press the minus button on the volume about 30 times to ensure that the volume is going to be low enough that you're not going to damage your ears or your in-ear monitors, for example. So unless you just used it and know what volume level it was at, there is that caution. And plugged in via USB, you can't control the volume internally via your device. It just doesn't have that feature. Likewise, the headphone amplification doesn't shut off when the device is not being used, even while it's plugged in. So it will drain your battery to some degree, though I noticed using a USB power meter that the power use went up according to the amount of power that was being output, with it drawing up to about 1 watt of power before it went into clipping with the headphones I was using. Powered on, of course, while it does have this window to the tubes, we can actually touch the tubes with your fingers. Being sub-miniature tubes, they don't even get warm, and nor do they even glow, which is why they have LEDs in there to show that the device is powered on it, they're lit up. The only problem with that is that I reckon they should have put windows over the tubes, and that's because dust and lint can readily get in around the tubes and in and on the circuitry if you regularly put this in a bag or your pocket. But it does come with a short braided USB cable, and these cables are not to the USB spec. Not that that really matters at this kind of length, but at least they're easily bendable, and it can make it easy to sit behind your phone, although there's nothing in the box to attach it to your phone with. So you're going to have to do something like attach a magnetic ring or something else, or get one of those magnetic elastic adapters for your phone if you want to use it with any kind of convenience. Although I didn't hear any noise coming through on the back of my phone while I was listening, though I haven't tried it out and about. Depending on the country you're in and the phone frequencies used, your mileage may vary. The only little irritating thing is when I pulled it out of the box, I heard a bit of a rattle. And thankfully that's not anything like the tubes or whatever, it's just the volume rocker. So if that sound bothers you, you might want to get something like a little bit of Vaseline and squish it in around there. Now, HiFiGo did pay me to jump my review queue and review this earlier than other products, and I just wanted to let you know that. So This is the Muse M3 Ultra. And of course they named it the same as a Cayenne product. I guess that's SEO hijacking.